I am shit scared every day. I don't know about you, but the one thing that I have learned is that whatever we're looking for and whatever we're dreaming about, I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate, but sits on the other side of fear. And I'm really excited for today's episode. This is going to be a high energy episode, and we are diving into some game changing strategies today that will help you and me conquer fear, help us to embrace risk taking, which is something I was very good at back in the day. And these days, I don't know, I'm battling with that. And ultimately, what this season is about to unlock freedom in your and my life, as well as in business. So excited for today's episode. Let's go. Good morning. Good morning. How amazing is it to wake up this morning with some beautiful rainy weather? It's quite cool and cold. I'm really brave not having a jacket on today. But a warm welcome to today's show. If you're watching the recording, a warm welcome to you as well. Thank you very much for joining us. This season is all about freedom and how we can unlock that in our lives and in our businesses. And for me, business is really like the place where we are able to create the life that we want. It's not to say it's the only way, but it is a big part of my life. And I guess if you're here, a big part of your life as well. So that's what we're talking about this season, is specifically about unlocking freedom and regaining our freedom and getting out of that prison that we've created for ourselves, for many of us. There's also some amazing people as part of this community that are really doing well in this space and have really mastered the art, I would say, of unlocking freedom. But today, really excited. We talk about fear today, and it's really an important topic, I would say. It's something that I definitely face every single day. I think sometimes people look at you and think like, geez, he's got it figured out. Trust me, I don't. I have no idea what's happening tomorrow, what the next steps are in many cases. And as much as we plan, sometimes, things just doesn't work out. Or even if you do plan, you have no control over the outcome. So I look forward to talk about all of these things today. But I'm not here alone today. So I am joined today by Leilani, Poseidonite from the FBI to do current affairs. Norma is here, and Norma is talking about the biggest reason for discontent in life. And then we have Kobus Klein talking about how to accelerate your brand. So he's our guest host this morning. Really looking forward to that. And of course, we're giving away some coffee and some quick announcements, and then we'll get into today's show. So before I really get going, let me say a warm good morning. Thank you very much for interacting with us in the chat. So you're welcome to say hi and connect with each other, participate in the conversation. So please do that. Good morning, Mr. T. Nice to see you. Neil, how are you? Hope you're doing well. We've got Tines. Good morning. Nice to see you, Tines. Garinel, good morning. Nice to see you as well. Carol is in the house. Good morning, Carol. Thank you very much for saying hi. We've got Mr. Mark Westonford, also aka Old Faithful. So good morning, Mark. Welcome. We've got Jaco Roots. Goeiemôre. Ons het nou mekaar vir 'n rukkie nie gesien nie. Dis nou weer tyd om bietjie te gaan rondloop. So, we've got Adrian Jordan. Good morning. We've got Nikki McDonald rounding up the hellos this morning. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's head on over to Leilani and hear what the latest is from a financial planning profession point of view.
Good morning, Francois, and everybody online. It's a beautiful day in Centurion this morning as I look to my left and I look over midstream and Midrand. We had a beautiful storm and it seems that it had calmed down to say, good morning, welcome to a new bright day. So let's jump straight into the news, being the 31st of March, the last day of quarter one. If that made you panic, well, then maybe you didn't deliver all your outputs in quarter one. So let's have a look. Last night, the Financial Sector Conduct Authority published the final strategy for promoting the financial financial sector transformation. Now, you remember that Unati Kamlani sent it out last year for public comment. And as you go to the latest news on the FECA website, FPI members, you will receive this from the FPI this morning. The professional practices already received it last night. So if we look at that strategy, it's under the latest news on the FECA's website. You will see that there's a document where they show who had all responded into the strategy. And I'm very proud to say that FPI is appearing on the public comment received. So let's have a look at the key changes made in the final strategy in response to the public comments received. So what is it? So clarification of the legislative frameworks that guided the development of the strategy is highlighted in there. They received quite a lot of backlash to say that they cannot ignore what is happening in terms of Parliament when we look at the Employment Equity Act and all the other legislative frameworks, and they cannot work in isolation. So they've considered the holistic legal framework, then reconsideration of the proposal to introduce a minimum BBB4 level requirement. I haven't worked through the whole strategy yet. It only came out at about 12 last night. So I'm going to dive in and see what is that they mean when they say that. Further details on the FECA's approach to ensure proportionality in its application of the strategy. Now, remember with COFI, the Conduct of Financial Institutions Bill that National Treasury will take to Parliament this year. This strategy also confirms that the COFI bill promises that the Financial Sector Conduct Authority will apply all these regulations in a proportionality fashion. That means they look at the size of your business and what you need to comply with, is not going to be the same than what a big old mutual's compliance requirement would be. But then also clarification on the impact of transformation requirements on new institutions entering the market and institutions that are already licensed. So I don't think it's a surprise that the licensing requirements for new entrants will change to take into consideration what is your transformation strategy and your plan for the future. Now, the FECA remains committed to playing its part in the promotion of the financial sector transformation. And they are saying, and this is Unati Kamlana saying, we are grateful to all those who provided inputs into our draft strategy, which were considered and taken into account in the revised document. We will continue to work closely with the stakeholders to ensure that our approach to this important issue is proportionate and fair and appropriate, supportive of the sector and its people it serves. And again, that is Unati Kamlana, who is the commissioner at the FECA. So let's then have a look at seeing that we are at the FECA. What else happened? So the FECA warns the public against Kranken FX. Now, when I read Kranken, it just sounds like something that's a bit Kranken. But anyway, that's my humor coming in. So the Financial Sector Conduct Authority warns the public to act with caution when conducting financial services related to business with Kranken FX. It has come to the attention of the FSA that Kranken claims on its website to be regulated by the Financial Sector Conduct Authority. They are not. And once again, the FSA is warning the public not to do any business with them. I did speak to the FSA yesterday and I asked them, it's nice that your public releases comes out, but the consumer should go to your website and there should be one tab that says public warnings and it should drop down all of these. It's very difficult to find the public warnings. It sits under news releases and consumers are not necessarily going to go there. So what else happened yesterday, being the 30th of March, besides being my best friend's birthday? The Reserve Bank hiked the repo rate with another 50 basis points, leaving it at 7.75%, and the prime rate is now 11.25%. I don't know where this is going to end or when this is going to end, but hopefully we're going to see the prime rate coming down a little bit later this year, but let's hope. I mean, it's becoming quite tough. Then also, if we look at, there seems to be, it seems that Deutsche Bank International Private Bank, in short IPM, launched a wealth management office in South Africa. This offering will cater for high net worth individuals, entrepreneurs, and family offices. The unit will be a representative of the office of the Deutsche Bank, which is in Switzerland, and adds to the bank's existing investment value proposition. So have a look at that. Patrick Cranes wrote about that in CityWire this morning. Then FBI update. Please, membership renewal closes today. The office is on standby. The whole office is in the office, and I will be with the staff of the FBI till late tonight to make sure that we can provide the support that you need. Then also Estate and Trust Planning, 19th of April. It's a 3-hour session. We have magnificent speakers, Louis van Vieren, who's also a certified financial planner and CEO of FISA. We'll look at pitfalls and important points when using trusts in estate planning. Professor Fatima Osman will talk about legal developments and implications in estate planning, such as unjustifiable discrimination in private wills. And then there will be a panel discussion on the pitfalls in estate planning. The panel will be moderated by Nikki McDonald. And on the panel, we will have Renate Jute and David Thompson. Then in closing, Francois and audience, an interesting article from Consumer Affairs. Nearly 8% of young adults get their financial advice from guess who and where. Well, it's the savience of all financial wisdom, the ones on social media. A new eye-opening report from Forbes Advisor claims that the number of young Americans who lean on Reddit, YouTube, and TikTok is close to 80%, trusting those platforms for advice about investment in stocks and bonds and other financial matters. Now, it's no wonder that finfluence and fintalkers are on the radar high-level risk from IOSCO. And again, the South African representative at IOSCO is none other than Unati Kamlana, the Commissioner of the FSCA. On that note, back to you in the studio, wherever they are, Francois. Bye.
Thank you very much, Lelani. And then next up, we have Norma. And Norma's doing Coach's Corner. And today, Norma is talking about the biggest reason for discontent in life. So, Norma, hope you're ready. I am. Here we go.
Good morning. Glad to be back today. I have a great topic again for you today. I want to talk to you about the biggest reason for discontent in our life. And as always, I like to talk about topics that I've experienced, and I have experienced discontent in my life. Maybe not as much lately, but definitely in my earlier years. So what I want to start with is, if you can ask yourself, like, when was the last time you had or you felt discontent in your life? So then, and try and go back to that place when you were in that discontent, and try and imagine what your circumstances maybe looked like and what you focused on the most. So when I talk about focus, I think worth mentioning is how we describe that focus. So the words that we use is quite important, because the words is not just a communication tool, but it's also the window through which we see the world. So we use our language to tell other people how we experience our life. And if we want to change the way we see things, we need to change the way we say and the words we use. So if we want to change what we say, it'll change what we see. So for me specifically, the biggest reason I think that we have discontent and that I've experienced is because of lack, or that scarcity mindset. So I think that lack is, I don't really recognize it immediately. It happens over time. So it's not that I have the thought of maybe I don't have enough, and obviously that immediate feeling of discontent comes up, but it also builds over time. And I think we don't realize it immediately. We only realize it maybe 2 weeks down the line or a month down the line, and that's the place that we actually don't want to be, because then I think how we recognize it is when we start blaming other people. We blame our circumstances. And I think once we're in that place, it's quite easy for us to say, oh, you know what? I'm in this mindset of lack or scarcity. So the words that we use when we're in lack or scarcity is words like, I'm restricted, I'm limited, or I'm deprived. So think of examples in your own life when you maybe are wanting to pursue a healthy diet. So when you go to an event and you maybe eat from the healthy table, or you maybe decide not to eat at all, how you describe that to yourself is maybe, I feel deprived. So let's think of a person that maybe eats every alternate day, that maybe eats like once a week. So how would that person describe your situation? So it depends on, how we see things. And then obviously how we describe it, like in this case, that deprivation. I think also how we do it in our businesses is when we say that I must or I have to, or I should. How often do we use those sentences? And to be honest, we don't have to do anything. It's our choice. Because when we choose to do things, it's because we want to avoid the negative consequence. So in actual fact, we do have a choice. Also, we use words like I need that or I want that. And it's not coming from a place of abundance, but definitely a place of scarcity. And then also this, I'm not enough, this is not enough, what I know isn't enough, or what I have to offer maybe doesn't have value. So those words that we use is like seeds that we plant. And then obviously when we water those seeds, they become these big flowers, and it becomes this garden. And a lot of times it's a garden that we actually, it's not something that we like. So this lack and scarcity leads to discontent, it leads to dissatisfaction. If I think of my own life, a frustration, it leads to impatience, it leads to things like resentment, envy. So if I don't want that in my life, what do I want? So if I just change the words I use and where my focus is, if I change it to, let's say, words of abundance, because I'm on earth anyway, I'm thinking in any case. So why not use things that's helpful? So if I think of abundance words, things come to mind like I have many, every, all, extra, like surplus, enough, excess, overflowing, I have more than enough. And then when I use those abundant words, things come up, feelings that come up for me. I think of like contentment, fulfillment, gratitude, resourcefulness, and also connectedness. So I think when we think of being discontent, always like have this reminder to ourselves that what am I focused on and what's the words that I'm using. And it's not contentment from, I don't want to, set goals for myself, or I don't want more. It's not a case of that. But if we take action from contentment, our result is going to look very different than taking action from lack. So that's what I have for you today. I hope it's helpful, and I hope you can at least use something that I've said today to improve your life and that serves you. I'll be back next week. Thank you for being here.
Great stuff. Another word that I would want to add to all of those words of abundance is and. So often we think about it's this or that. It's we think that things are mutually exclusive, and often the answer lies in and. I always joke that whenever faced with a choice, take both. So I do want to add that to what Norma said as well. All right, now it's time to accelerate your brand, and with none other than Kobus Klein. Kobus, I hope you're ready, because here we go. Let's accelerate.
Good morning, my fellow PROpulsion community members. I'm truly excited to be here today at this incredible show theme, Dare to Achieve. Our time together will focus on my soon-to-be launched book, Accelerate Your Brand, which has the potential to transform not your financial planning practice only, but also to create a magnetic brand to ensure a lifestyle practice with balance and freedom. Dare to Achieve challenges us to face our fears and step outside of our comfort zones. It urges us to push the boundaries of what we believe is possible and to rise above the limiting beliefs that hold us back from reaching our true potential. As my friend Ryan Stramwood says, push past impossible. And what better way to overcome these fears than unlocking the power of our brand? In Accelerate Your Brand, I've outlined the essential strategies that will help you develop and cultivate a strong, authentic brand that will resonate with your clients and propel your practice and brand into new orbits. This book goes beyond merely building your brand. It teaches you the art of mastering your brand into a powerful magnet to pull clients to you. Now let's dig deeper into the key aspects that will help you master your brand. First, the book to discovering and defining your needs, your values, your strengths, and align them with your practice and relevant to your clients. By doing so, you'll build a brand that attracts your ideal clients advice. Apart from defining your brand identity, the book emphasizes the importance of understanding your target audience by identifying their needs, desires, and pain points. You'll be able to tailor your services and messaging in a way that truly resonates with them. This in turn will lead to stronger connections and greater client satisfaction with an experience. I go deep into the importance of storytelling and content creation in shaping your personal brand. It teaches you how to craft and share your personal story and content in a way that captivates your audience while also conveying your expertise, your credibility, and your thought leadership. By mastering storytelling and content, you'll be able to create a powerful connection with your target audience and create a brand that stands out tall in a crowded marketplace. This book also covers the art of effective communication, both online and offline, to enhance your brand. From leveraging social media to creating compelling content, it equips you with the tools you need to engage with your target audience and amplify your brand's reach. By mastering these communication techniques, you'll become more influential and create a brand with authenticity that attracts the right clients. Accelerate Your Brand highlights the importance of networking and building strong relationships within our professions, like our PROpulsion community. By forging connections with other professionals, you'll expand your knowledge and establish yourself as a respected expert. Lastly, the book addresses the importance of continuous growth and ability to adapt and fly and not adapt or die. In an ever-changing world, it's crucial to stay ahead of the curve. I provide guidance on how to stay current and relevant in our profession. This means not only staying informed on the latest trends and developments, but also nurturing a growth mindset that embracing change and fosters innovation. By doing so, you'll ensure a lifestyle practice that remains resilient and adaptable. I'm excited to announce that the book will be officially launched on April 1st over the weekend. Now, as a special gift to our amazing PROpulsion community, I'm delighted to announce that this book is now available for download now as a complimentary ebook on my domain and profile me on the links below. Why not be among the first to explore the powerful strategies that this book has to offer before it goes out on the 1st of April? A special word of thanks to Razan Oosthuizen and Tim Slatter for contributing a chapter in my book. Together, let's accelerate our brands, master them, and achieve the growth, freedom, and magnetic allure we all deserve. Finally, now is the time to dare to achieve by overcoming fear and unlocking growth in your practice by unleashing your brand, and be fearless. Have a fantastic day and make sure you propel your brand. Thank you, Francois.
Thank you very much, Kobus, and well done and congratulations with this, your fourth book. And I know the fifth one is already in the, I don't know if it's in the making, but it's definitely already planned and all of that. So congratulations and thank you very much for extending this free download to everybody that watches this video. So I will add the links below. So it's kobusklein.com and also his profile me link. We will add it to the description below and you will be able to go and download it there. And we hope that you do so. I'm definitely going to do that because this is such an important point. It's a big lesson that I've learned over the last 3 years specifically, that, it's something that takes a bit of time. It doesn't have to take that long, but it is a very, very powerful thing to do. And that is to look after your brand, cultivate your brand, and be intentional with your brand, I think is absolutely important. So, Kobus, thank you very much. With that, I've got a couple of announcements. So let's do those before we get into today's topic. So, obviously we are very happy that Colombo Coffee is our official coffee. That's what we drink here in the studio and everywhere else I go. So thank you very much to Colombo Coffee for sponsoring basically the giveaway that we do at the end of the show. So today, if you want to do that and you want to participate, you've got to use the hashtag in the comments, hashtag beans today. We're already collecting the entries. So whatever you comment, you can just comment hashtag beans, or you can add the hashtag beans to any of the comments that you do, and you will automatically be entered to win a bag of coffee. But not any bag of coffee. That bag of coffee will be made to your preference. It will be ground to your preference. So you'll see that we ask a lot of questions around how you like your coffee, and then we will prepare it like that, and Colombo will have it delivered straight to your door. So do take part of this and do participate in the comments. And we really love doing this. If you won in the last 6 months, you can't win again. We will redraw, but just so that you know. All right. So first announcement very quickly. Global Financial Planning Conference. You would have seen the emails go out on Tuesday. I've sent out a WhatsApp on this, and we really urge you to purchase your tickets for this 2-day event, the 16th and 17th of May. It's 349 Rand. It's not only one event, it's 2 events. So there's the Global Financial Planning Conference on the 16th and 17th, and then there's the Day of CPD that takes place on the 12th of July. So this year you will earn CPD. We're applying for this and getting it approved, but in concept, we know that this would, because of the way we are able now to track with the new platform. So we will let you know exactly what the details are, but this time around, so you can earn CPD this side of the cycle as well as on the other side of the cycle. So it's really an amazing thing, but that is not what this is about. What Global Financial Planning Conference is about is that we are creating a stage for people who've never spoken on a stage before to come and do a 10-minute TED-style talk after going through the International Speaker and Influencer Program and being coached by several international speaking coaches that are great coaches with a great track record in their own right. One of them are even a Hollywood actor. So it's proper. We really push the boundaries. It's a lot of hard work. You can ask any of the people that I'm about to show you that's on this cohort that it's really hard work, but the growth is absolutely phenomenal. If we look back at the previous 2 years, what this event has done and that program, it's literally what we're about. So we want you to please support this. Please go and get your tickets. It's worth your while. It's really entertaining. It's great. There's some things that you've never heard of before, and there's things that you will resonate with and things that you will become aware of, both in business and from a personal perspective. So please support the Global Financial Planning Conference. And let me just quickly remind you who the people are that's currently going through the program. So out of 145 applicants, these are the lucky few who got in. So join us, support them, support the profession, and let's all grow together at the Global Financial Planning Conference as well as the Day of CPD. All right, then we just finished this week. On Wednesday, we did the last module of client meeting skills in PROpulsion Pro. And I'm happy to say that there's going to be another cohort. It was wildly successful. And everybody that participated in this got tons of value if I look at the feedback. So if you want to be part of the next client meeting skills, which starts mid-April, and then it's an hour a week that you spend with us, and that it's a live training session, and then really, really powerful stuff in how to really elevate your client meeting skills and take your client meeting skills to the next level. So it's free to Propulsion Pro members. It's the only way that you can access it. So if you're not a member, do consider that. The links are down below in the description as well. And then also, we're currently running with the Financial Planning Tools and Techniques program in Propulsion Pro, which is all about building on those client meeting skills as well. And from next week on, for the next 4 weeks, we'll have Steve Martin as live guest with us on that program. It happens every Thursday. And we're really looking forward to that and really getting deep into that next level questioning techniques. He has trained many advisors on doing that really effectively. So also just for Propulsion Pro members. So if you're not a member, the value when you look at what we give you, I don't even know what the thoughts are, or why anybody would need to think about it. So do go and have a look at that. Then lastly, on Monday, we'll make available the registrations for the WhatsApp for Financial Advisors session that Razan and myself will be doing. So looking forward to that. So please keep an eye out for that as well. More detail to follow. It'll take place on the 19th of April, Wednesday, the 19th of April at 10 a.m. in the morning. So if you want to save the date so long, then we'll get the detail out of where you can register. So good stuff. Right. Then, and we will also be applying for CPD for that one, just by the way. Then, as you know, Amity Investment Solutions is the proud sponsor. They were the proud sponsor during March, so today is the last day. But thank you very much to Marius and Tanya and Ian and everybody over at Amity. It's been great to have you on board as a sponsor. And just it makes so much more possible for the show. And also, we really only partner with brands and with businesses and people that we resonate with and that align with our values. And that's what we found with Amity. So there's also loads of links and downloads and things down in the description. If you want to go have a look at that, then you're welcome to do so. Alrighty, if you find value in what we do, here's the big ask. Please like this video, right? It helps quite a lot to get the word out. So if you can do that, and then also if you find value and you've watched a few episodes, please consider subscribing. All right, with that, let's play out with the Amity last message from them, and then we'll get into today's episode. Fear. I know I started off this episode this morning very strongly. I've never said any strong words on this show. I've gotten sort of hyped up and all sorts of things, but I am shit scared. Like, I don't think there's any other way to really get across what it feels like to not know what's going to happen tomorrow and not have control over what happens tomorrow. But I think maybe you have a good idea. So I thought it would be really a great thing, because we can talk about freedom as much as we want. We can talk about building our personal brands that we've spoken about before. We can talk about whether you should stay independent or whether you should join a bigger business. We've talked about a lot of things on the show that all pertains to freedom. But one of the things that really stands in our way is fear. And I think Norma was also alluding to this. And where does this fear come from? I guess is the big question. And I think most of us have it. And even those of us who say we don't, maybe we just learn how to manage it and we're doing certain things. Because one of the things I'm going to do today is share some strategies of how you can push through fear or run around it or jump over it. I don't know, whatever you prefer. I can't jump anymore, so I will have to run straight through it like a good old Cobus Visa. So that's what we'll do. But I'm going to share all of this with you this morning. And just to get back to the theme just very quickly, is that it is all about freedom. And if I say freedom, most importantly for me, it's freedom of mind, or emotional freedom, or whatever you want to call that. But it is about being able to do things when you want to do them, where you want to do them, how you want to do them, and have control over the decision. You have the freedom to make that decision. You have the freedom to think. You have the freedom to reflect. You have time. Like all of these things talk to freedom. And I think freedom really means something very specific to you. And the question is, are you clear on what that looks like? Because at the end of the day, what freedom means to you sets the chart for the road that you're going to take, because that's where you want to go at the end of the day. And if your freedom is a little bit different from mine, we're taking two different roads, but we will face very similar obstacles, of which fear is absolutely one. And I guess the question then becomes is like, what is the connection at the end of the day between fear and freedom? Fear is not a positive thing. It is, in fact, a limiting factor. It is something that holds us back. It is something that leads us to not make a decision, which is also a decision. It's something that leads us to not taking action, which is also really taking action if you think about it. It's just you're not taking the action that you should be taking. But that is what fear is doing. I laughed this morning. I saw a little video clip where somebody that they put a phone down on the ground behind a car, and this guy picked up the phone, but they attached to it with fishing line one massive hairy spider, a toy spider, but a massive one. And how that oak was just falling all over himself to get away from this fictitious, fear-mongering spider. And I think that's often what we do, in our own lives. We make something of whatever is happening or whatever is in front of us. That's not really the real thing. We focus on these things and we think, oh, it's so big. But then you start talking to other people and you realize, like, what are you complaining about? And everybody's thing is a big thing for them at that point, because maybe this is the biggest fear you've ever faced in your life. There will be a lot of people who faced much bigger fears and much worse fears. And there's people who haven't faced fears really that much, or maybe fears that are even smaller than yours. And you go like, what are you on about? So it's to understand that you are where you are, to accept where you are, and to deal with what's in front of you, I think is really the important thing. If we want to unlock opportunities, we have to confront our fears, or we have to face our fears. We have to deal with our fears. And it's an ongoing battle for me. It's an ongoing thing every single day. Most of the time, luckily, I'm successful. And often, the Speak and Influencer program is a very good example. We have so many people that gets to this point halfway through the program, and they get overwhelmed with the amount of work. They get overwhelmed with the fact that they don't have the content for their talk. They get overwhelmed with all of these different things. And every time they hear somebody else speak about what they're going to talk about, they go like, oh, why didn't I think of that? This is so great. And you become like, oh, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. And then you just want to drop out. But I've seen it on faces that when you decide not to do that and you go through the hell of getting to the other side, that moment, the literal moment when they finish that 10-minute talk on the day at Global Financial Planning Conference, it's the best moment of their life. They look back and they say, that wasn't so bad. I'm glad I stayed. And that we see year after year after year. And that's a very simple example from that. But it is extremely important that if you want to grow in life, if you want to sort of make use of opportunities, etc., you have to be able to take risks, but not just any risks. So I'll get to that in a second. But it is very, very important that we are able to take risks. And that's the one thing I lost in my life. I used to be afraid of nothing. I wouldn't even, if my gut said, this is what I want to do, I would just go and do it. And somewhere down the line, I started overthinking everything. I started looking for all the reasons of why these things are not going to work and why this is going to go wrong. And not just that, let's say I think it's going to work, but I would still look at, but what if it doesn't? What is the consequence? And that consequence is so big that you can't, it's just like, not worth it. I'm not going to do it. But it's based on nothing. It's based on what I think and feel. So it doesn't really mean anything, although I make a lot of it. And I don't know if you feel the same from that perspective. But it's important that if we want to achieve freedom, that, we have to leverage fear and risk-taking. Because what does fear do? The moment you realize that you're able to beat fear in the face is when you start taking action, when you take the right action. Sometimes people say you need to take massive action. Sometimes people say, any action will do. But whatever works for you, for me, is I learned I've got to stay focused just on the next thing I need to do. Because if I think about all the stuff that I need to do, I get lost. So I just focus on this one thing and get it done. The start of this week, I was like totally overwhelmed. I have so much since the event that I've fallen behind with, and things that I owe people, that it feels like, and there's just more stuff happening and more stuff happening. And this week, I just started doing one thing. And today there's 3 more things left for me to do. But I feel so much lighter. I feel so much more that now I can think about the other stuff that needs to happen. And, it's just an ongoing thing. It's okay. It's life. It's not so bad. But we have to face the fear, and we have to use risk to our advantage. And then, obviously, I think what's very important is we have to be open to new experiences. And we have to be open to growth. If we ever get to a point where I'm just maintaining, you're not maintaining, you are going backwards. I promise you, you are moving backwards. You are not maintaining. Because when things stay the same and everything else is moving, you're getting left behind. So we can never get to that point. Maybe the focus, you don't need as much energy to create the same thing. If you think about what it takes to earn your first 100,000 Rand, for example, and what it takes to earn your next 200,000 after that, and then 400,000, and then 1 million, basically. So it just becomes easier and easier with less effort. But that first bit really, I think I heard somebody say in the week that when a Boeing takes off, it consumes 60% of all its fuel. 60% on takeoff. But on the rest, it can fly halfway around the world. So that's really what it is. So sometimes, yes, it takes a lot of energy, but the more you build, the more you gain momentum, the less energy it takes, and the more you actually get done. So don't get, overwhelmed by that, but it's just the reality of where we are. So let's talk just a little bit about what fear is and sort of what do we understand when it comes to fear. And I think fear plays a massive role in decision making. I don't know about you. I definitely feel that, because it often, if I think about when does fear really rock up in my world, is when I don't know what's happening next. I don't know what the outcome is going to be. I don't even know what next steps I should take. Then I get, I don't know what to do, or I don't know what's going to happen. So the unknown, things that happen in the future, like I don't know. And 99% of the time, I don't even have control over that. The other part of it is not just not knowing what's happening or what's coming. It's also then the other part of what I might lose in the process. So what can I lose? What do I have? And if I do this, what do I lose? So I lose time. I lose money. I had a long conversation with my wife in the week to say the things that we're planning to do, whether they work or not, doesn't matter. For me, in the past, it was lost time. I can't afford to lose time. But I gained so much through the process. At the very least, I learned new things. I met new people. I find out what doesn't work, right? So there's always value in that. So, but we tend to make, and that people experience loss 10 times more intensely than they do any positive thing. So a 1% loss feels like a minus 10%. Versus a 1% growth is just a 1% growth. And then also things that we think are threats. So go back to my example with this oak that picked up the cell phone with this toy spider. It's a massive spider. It looks like something out of Lord of the Rings. But he really, he was running and kept running and kept running. And this thing just kept chasing after him because he was holding onto the phone. But it's perceived. It's not real. We make this stuff up, even if it seems very real to us. So we really need to sort of think about those things. Then also, this is a big thing for me. And the one thing I was talking to somebody in the week, and they were saying that they are a procrastinator. And there was a long time that I labeled myself as a procrastinator. I don't think procrastination is really a thing. I don't know why we always give things names. And that's the thing, because as soon as you give it a name, you make it real, right? But procrastination means that I am in limbo. I don't do things that I know I need to do. I don't make decisions that I know I need to make. And all procrastination is actually the decision not to do anything. It's actually the decision to not make a decision, right? That's what procrastination is. It's not a real thing. It's just inaction. That's it. And it's not a condition you and I have. It's literally because we are so full of fear that we don't do the things that we want to do because we don't know what's going to happen. We're afraid we're going to lose something, or it seems like this massively dangerous thing. And that's what we don't want or shouldn't be doing. And all of that means that the rest of the world is moving on. Those people who are brave enough to make those decisions, those who are brave enough to do the actions that needs to be done, they move and we get left behind simply because of that. And now we call it procrastination. Also, I think, if you really think about this, all of this, can result in us making very, very conservative choices. So just think about how you invest people's money, for example. So if somebody is, maybe you've had a bad experience with a client who maybe later complained, maybe you just had, sort of a big fight with them because of, or not a fight, but it's not the right word, but there was this massive issue because their investment didn't perform. And suddenly, like, you are so fearful of getting into that situation again to have those hard conversations that instead of doing that, I'm just going to go conservative with all my clients because then I don't have to have these hard conversations. So that's sort of the stuff that I'm talking about in practice that we also do. And it filters through into the rest of our lives. So we will choose not to do certain things just because of that. Or if we do, we always take the safe road. So unless the outcome is known, I don't do anything. And you can't grow like that. So what's going to happen is we are limiting our growth opportunities from that. Right. So what are some techniques to overcome fear? There's some practical strategies, right? Always. I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but I do want to share them with you. So some practical strategies if you want to manage your fear and if you want to build confidence, because often, again, from some of my conversations this week, people were saying, like, it comes out that we feel like imposters. It feels like I'm undeserving, that I don't have the experience. I don't have the knowledge. I'm not at that level. So then I just do nothing because I feel like an imposter. And it is very important that we build confidence, because confidence, and you can only build confidence if you build a track record. If you have a list of things that you've done and that you've accomplished, that's your confidence. You can stand and tell yourself 1 billion times, I'm beautiful, I'm strong, I'm fit, I'm not fit, right? But I can tell myself that it's not true. Just be who you are and do the things that you should be doing and let the results speak for themselves. Results builds confidence. So that's very important. Anyway, so let me get into the practical strategies just for a second. One thing is accept that fear is part of the process. It's part of our lives. It's there. It's an emotion, right? Because fear isn't something we think. Fear is something we feel. It is because of things that we think that we feel that way. And that feeling, that we're giving it the name fear. So we need to accept that that is part of everyday life. And that's the thing. So it's not something you have. We all have it. Simple. You've got to look at, where does this fear come from? Right? So what is the source of this fear? And then the other very important thing is, like, whatever it is that you need to do, break it into smaller parts. So that's something that I'm very bad at. I tend to want to do the whole thing instead of saying, no, what is the one thing I need to do first, and just do that, and just little by little, because suddenly this big hairy spider is just a small little bug maybe. So that's definitely one of the things that you want to do. And then I think the other thing is, if you think about the plans that you do and you think about, what if I lose this? What if something goes wrong? Just plan ahead. What if it does? So that's fine. Don't worry about it. Have a contingency plan in place and say, well, I'm going to do this. And if it doesn't work out and I lose the money, I lose the time, where am I now? What am I going to do? For example, it's just one simple example. I mean, there's many things that can go wrong depending on what it is that you're facing in life or in business. So that's very important. Then also use your past experiences and successes as a point of reference. Right? I just said earlier in this section that the important thing is that we build our confidence through results. You were confident that you could go to grade 8 and grade 9 and grade 10 because you had a report card that said, Francois, you made it, you passed. Okay. Nobody looked at whether, some people does, but nobody really cares, specifically after school, whether you got 50 or 100. It's only the people that got 100 that would tell everybody I got 100 because it is something significant. But everybody else has got exactly the same paper with exactly the same qualification, professing to have exactly the same expertise. So very important that you build a record of what it is that you've achieved, and you use those as points of reference that you've done this before. You can obviously also talk to somebody who's done this before who can help you through the process. And then just having realistic, achievable goals. So breaking things down, not making them too big, right? I always think about those two ladders, the one with big steps that you can't even get onto the first one versus the other one with all the small steps. It's much easier to get to the top that way. So that's the practical strategies that we can follow for this. Then mindset and self-awareness, which is very important. For me, I deal with anxiety a lot, and I think it comes from the fear stuff, but ultimately it's anxiety because I get, flustered and all sorts of things, and it does take me a while, but I'm very aware when I can feel it coming on. It took me a long time to learn that, but I'm very aware when that happens. I know what my strategy is when I feel that happening. I know that doing the stuff I'm supposed to be doing, because it often comes from the fact that I haven't done yet what I should have done. And then I get all flustered, or the bank account is a little bit empty. Then I get all flustered. So you work, do your thing, whatever it is. Maybe you need to go to the gym. Maybe, you need to have a conversation. Whatever that is, that's the important part. So it is very important that we have I would say a growth mindset. Obviously, we talk about growth mindset a lot. Norma talks about it a lot. But we have to have a mindset of, this is okay. I'm up for the challenge. I'm open to this. This is just a learning moment for me. And I'm going to prove to myself, to myself and everybody else that I can do this and that I will do this. And you push through and you do it. But it starts up here, because this brain, causes all the feelings that we feel. It has a direct impact on what we feel. And unfortunately, what we feel has a massive impact on what we do or don't do. So that's very important. Be wary, or be wide, sort of open-eyed to notice when things are changing and when you start feeling things. And immediately recognize, one, that it's happening, and two, what are you going to do? What is my strategy after this? So that awareness is critically important. Also, often what I would do is, like, sometimes I'll just, and then my wife would immediately go like, what's wrong? Because she knows when I do that, it's sort of a way to calm me down. And it's just, that's something that I do, for example. But there's many other different ways, whether you meditate or reflect or talk about things or talk to yourself about it. It's just very important, because everything starts up here. How you think about things is really how they tend to manifest in life as well. Be very clear on what your personal values are. So what is important to you? I always say values are not morals. It's not what's right or wrong. It's about what is most important to you. And make sure that everything aligns to that, because when things don't align, that is when you feel like that. That will be life telling you, champ, you're not in line with where you are supposed to be. So very important. Then the last thing on mindset is audit the people that you surround yourself with on a daily basis. You've got to look at that. You've got to recognize when that group of people is not good for your mindset, right? When they are fear-mongering, they're a group of fear-mongering people. That's all they talk about, all the things that are wrong. And I'm not saying that we should ignore what's happening or what is right or what's not right and what's wrong. All I'm saying is what you feed your mind is what you get out at the end of the day. So you want to make sure that you surround yourself with people that support each other, that's like-minded, right? They create a positive environment for themselves. So I think that is absolutely crucial. Then lastly, I just want to quickly talk about embracing risk-taking, because without taking risks, there is no growth. You know this in investments. The higher the risk, the higher the return. Yes, there's the possibility of loss. Yes, I don't know what's going to happen. But we know that people who invest more aggressively over the long term make more money than the people who invested conservatively. I mean, there's a lot of proof out there. And that is true in life, in many instances. But it is about taking calculated risk and not any risk. Otherwise, you could just go to the casino. I mean, that's like a risk that you can take, right? But that's not a calculated risk, because the odds are not in your favor at all. If you thought they were, they're not. So very important to do that. If you want to grow and you want to innovate, you want to push boundaries, then you've got to explore new opportunities. You've got to be open to that. You have to be willing to try things that you've never tried before. Doesn't matter how you feel. So very, very important from that point as well. You've got to be able to adapt, right? You've got to build resilience. You have to build tenacity. It's absolutely crucial from that point to do that. And you can only do that by doing things. The more you do it, the more these things just tend to build themselves and to create themselves. Right. So also important, now think about, again, confidence and personal development. Spend a lot of time on that. It helps a lot because it helps foster the mindset that you have, and it helps to create the awareness that we need. You won't believe this, but if you do calculated risk in business and in life, you will probably stand out because most people are too afraid to take the action that they should be taking. Two people are taking the safe option and not taking risk. Now, I'm not professing go out there and just throw everything out, the child or the baby with the bathwater, and let's just take chances. Again, remember, I'm saying calculated risks. But if you really want to create a unique value proposition, if you want to stand out, if you want to, become competition, then it's very important that you are able to do calculated risks. So I think to sort of summarize what I spoke about in today's session is that fear is a natural part of life. It's a natural part of entrepreneurship. It doesn't have to hold you back, right? You can go out and achieve your full potential. We all battle with this. We all fight, right? We all don't know what to do. Some people seem to have figured it out, but trust me, they're busy. They may have figured this out, but they're busy with the next level of stuff where they have no clue what the hell they're doing. So we need to figure out life one step at a time and business one step at a time. It's important that we overcome fear and that we are able to take these calculated risks if you want to unlock your potential, if you want to build your business, if you want to create new opportunities in your life and for your business and for your clients for that matter. So there's some practical strategies that I shared, and of which I think probably the most important is that mindset and self-awareness. Those are probably the two most important ones. Alrighty, so let's do the giveaway. So you'll remember that, let me just add this to the screen. There we go. I'm going to do this. So we are doing the lucky draw. So #beans. If you haven't put #beans in one of the comments, then you can do so quickly because at the moment, as you can see, we have only 10 entries. So 10 people. We've got 37 comments in total. Only 10 people have put in #beans. And I'm about to do the draw for this. And let's go ahead and do that. So if you haven't put #beans, it's too late. Here we go. So let's see who wins today's coffee. All right. Who will it be? Kobus, it's about time. You've entered every single week. So there you go. Guest host, new book, and nice coffee to go with that. So big congratulations. I'll be sending you the information over right after the show. And then, ladies and gentlemen, next week we will not have a show because next week, I believe, is Easter. So next week, Friday, we won't be here. I will see. I'm not going to promise anything, but maybe we'll put something out that is recorded, not from a show point of view, but maybe just a couple of highlights and things that we'll do. I'm not sure if I'll have time, but let's see. But otherwise, we'll be back the next week. So the week of I don't even know what the date would be. But anyway, I think it would be around about the 6th or not the 6th, the 13th or the 14th or somewhere around about there. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for being here live. I really appreciate you. Remember, go get your tickets for Global Financial Planning Conference. And I'll see you back for the next episode. And just stay safe, be blessed and prosper. Continue to raise the bar. Thank you very much. Love you. Bye-bye.